Hello, everyone. My name is Tucker, and welcome back to our Russian Fishing for float fishing journey. Today's October 11th. It's actually about 10 p.m. My time in real life, so this may be a shorter, quicker video, but kind of a surprise update happened overnight. So there's actually another video I've recorded earlier today and is processing right now on YouTube, but there's a brand new tutorial system that was implemented. So the struggles we had with fishing uh, at winding to catch that one spin fishing perch are no more. It's now a brand new lake body that exists. Cottage Pond itself is actually gone. You can no longer go back to Cottage Pond. So they did do some minor changes to Mosquito as well as part of it. The big thing I notice is the boat. It's no longer the little rubber dinghy. So kind of interesting like that. Other things that are very interesting is significantly increase the price in fish markets of certain types of fish, including barbel, vimba, eyed, nace, rudd, rough, gudgeon, and Chinese sleepers. Made some changes to load capacities. So now load capacities also are up to the nearest tenth of a percentage. They used to be up to the nearest half of a kilo. So this rod used to be a 5.5 kilo. It is now, or this reel was a 5.5. It is now a 5.4. So that's kind of interesting. They also redesigned the habitats, activities, and preferences of fish on Mosquito Lake, as well as just some generic changes to early game fish have been slightly reduced for as power wise goes. But the big things for this character are they increase the effectiveness of float fishing and additional behaviors for bites of fish species popular in float fishing have been implemented. The bites of such species have become more diverse and more dynamic. So that's kind of interesting to see what that ends up being like. They've also added a new skill for casting strength control and a couple of other things. So gonna be interesting. So I did actually create a brand new character and a brand new series that's going to be focused on spin fishing. I know I kind of alluded to that earlier in a couple of videos. So I did play levels 1 through 6, including the new tutorial. I'll have a link to that playlist in the description below if you are interested in seeing the changes. There's a brand new forest lake for the tutorial. The tutorial's been redone. You don't keep any fish from the tutorial, which is interesting, but definitely was an interesting time. I think the changes are good. The other changes are they're giving you a gift for your first 10 levels. So unfortunately, we just missed that on this character, but it is what it is there. So we logged in here to Mosquito. We've got about 113 silver. We could go to Old Berg and try to fish bream. With it being nighttime, I kind of actually want to try that. So we'll transfer over to Berg. We have not been to Old Berg yet. Old Berg is a lake we unlocked at the end of last episode when we hit level 12. So this is our first trip to Berg. So it did cost us about 8 silver to come to Old Berg. Now, things to know about Old Berg is the tackle store is more expensive than it is on Mosquito. So if you can buy something on Mosquito, it's probably worth it. It's not significantly more, but it is noticeably more. The grocery store, on the other hand, is cheaper here at Berg. So just a couple things to think about. So we log in here. Let's go over to the admin building. We can buy a map for 5 silver. And of course, we want to have a map. So Oldberg has a center island, and then you can walk all the way around the lake. So it is another lake. It is not a river. We also unlocked Belaya River. Belaya is more of a spin fishing river. We'll probably spend some more time on that on the other account. But I did want to log in. I have struggled with rough here, but it might be something we look at based on what I'm seeing for fish out here. But nighttime is bream time as well. Bream's what I really wanted to go for. So I think we're going to try to get bream on float fishing, which is going to be a little bit of fun. I haven't done a whole lot of telestick bream float fishing. So options are either right over here or potentially right here. I don't think we can quite get to that 5 meter hole. This 6.5 meter hole is another one that's been a lot of fun for me, and also fishing for white bream in this area as well too. So I think I'm gonna come over here and we're gonna go very deep. We're gonna put this to 2 meters. Bream are definitely bottom fishing, so we want to turn and aim a little bit that way. We can actually walk out on the log here. Can we put our rod down on the log? I don't remember this log. We can. Interesting. So let's go ahead and put pearl barley on. As far as our hook size, we got a size 12. That should be good. And we'll go ahead and cast it out and just see what we can get. We can't quite get to the 2 meter or to the 6 meter hole. 2 meters was too deep here. So let's go down to 1.5. 1.5's too deep. Okay, that one worked. This one, we've got a size 12 on. We already have pearl barley on it as well. And let's set it to, let's do 1.25 on this rod. And cast it out there. So I've kind of mentioned it in the past. Bream like to push the float up rather than pull it down, or at least that's what they used to do. Again, one of the updates was a change to the way fish bite. So I'm interested to see what happens there. On my bottom rod, I am going to put pearl barley on. We're going to go for a 15-meter clip, so pretty decent distance, and we'll cast that out. And you notice how the line sunk a little bit further than we usually do, so we probably got out pretty close to that 6 meter hole. So we'll tighten it up and just see what we can get here. If we don't get a lot of bites, I may try something different as well. I've had some good luck white bream fishing in this area as well too. That was more, I believe. Well, we're getting a bite on the bottom rod at least. That's a good sign. So we did catch a bream. It was a small one, but shows we're thinking the right way. Yeah, so the white bream spot I had was right in here, just between the algae. And I believe that was mainly on red worm, if I remember correctly. It's been a lot of sweet dough, cheese, pearl barley. So looks like my old record's no longer on there anymore. We are getting a bite over here on rod 2 as well. And you notice how the float popped up there. That's my indication usually that it's a bream or a white bream. This looks like a pretty decent bream, especially for float fishing. Marker bream. I like it. I do have a little bit of a bigger hook on this rod, so if we keep catching the small little bream, I may switch over to a smaller hook. Bream do have a little bit of small mouth, but usually a size 6 or a size 8 works pretty well. I think I actually have an 8 on here right now. Yeah. Both of these rods are getting a bit of a nibble. Reasonable bream there. Got one on the other rod. Ah, just missed it. I do think rod one might be a little too deep. So far, we're definitely on the bream. Not super big ones, but definitely the fish we're looking for. Usually, bream can be worth a good amount. I've made 150 to 200 silver in a night. Now, that's usually with 3 bottom rods. So I'm not quite expecting that here, but it's definitely possible. I am going to go ahead and pull this rod out, and let's go 1.3. So rod 2 is at 1.25, rod 1 is at 1.3 meters deep, and then the ground rod is actually sitting on the bottom rod is obviously fishing off the bottom of the lake. And this is not unheard of for bream. They tend to be early evening and late or early morning fish. So a lot of times 7 to 10 a.m. is the best time for me for bream. And then 10 to midnight is usually pretty good as well. And we got started a little bit late tonight. Want to continue digging our worms out of the lake. Curious if the rough are biting on anything different. Let's go look at the weekly records. Looks like most of the usual stuff. A little bit of a small bream, but I'll take it. So right now, both of these holes are exactly the same. Same line. The only difference is the float color. They both have a Happy Hook size 12 on them. Both have pearl barley. I'm thinking kind of my next step is to buy either some better monofilament line or some fluorocarbon line for one of them and see if there's any difference. So again, they're a little bit small on the weight. So right now they got 4.8 kilo line on a 7.4 kilo rod. There is a 25-meter spool of 7 kilo monofilament that has my interest here. I didn't see it at Winding or Mosquito, but I also didn't look after the update. I wonder if they reset it. We got a decent fish on here. It's probably just over a kilo. And then I didn't look too much. Ooh, 1.4 kilo. And again, kind of when they start turning from that brown to the golden color, or from the white to the golden color, that means you're getting the bigger fish. And that's still a small bream. Bream will go up to 4, 5, 7 kilos. I think Oldberg bream is about 7 kilos for the max. USA is seen 6.8. I messed the bite up there. When I picked the rod up, I pulled the float a little bit. And so I wanted to be a little bit aggressive because a lot of times that will mess the bite up. And that's something you've got to be careful with. Right now, we've got almost 4 meter per second wind. And if you look at our floats, they're both very tight. The line is very tight. So just picking the rod up will a lot of times hook the fish before you even start pulling the fish in right now. Very close to bottom fishing with float fishing. So this night so far hasn't been super active bite rate. Just looking to see if bream have been biting off anything different recently. Old Berg, it looks like they've been a lot of garlic dough, which we can't make yet. Garlic dough is, I think that's one of the next things we unlock. So sweet dough at 25%, wheat grains at 25%, semolina at 30, garlic dough at 35. So got a little bit more of a ways to go than I thought for the garlic dough. Don't think this is going to be a bream. An eyed. Nice. Marker roach. Not what I'm going after, but I'm also not going to complain either. I fishing standing on this log is a little bit difficult to be able to put your rods down. I may come over here, put some smaller hooks on, and try and get some white bream. I'm gonna go wander just to make sure that's the spot. No, it was over here. Let's go see if we can't do a little bit of white bream fishing. I did have some good luck during the day white bream fishing as well too. Got stuck there a little bit. I will say Berg seems to be very temperamental for whether you're going to be on the fish or not. Some days it'll be very active. Other days it'll be very, very, very slow. A 16 hook on this one, the normal worm. One's a little too deep still. There we go. I got them mixed up. We were getting a bite on two. I thought two was already under and one was getting a nibble. We did get 10 fish, so it wasn't too bad. Crucian. Marker perch. Don't get stuck. I was just taking a look there to see what I thought. Seen a nibble over on one. And the same thing over on two now as well. Saw the bobber pop up and thought it was being pushed up, but I guess I was early. I don't know. I don't know if that's one of the new bites that I'm just not used to. Because that one did the same thing and I got a fish on it. There's the white bream we're looking for. That one was on red worm. So there was someone fishing 44.33 for white bream. You go to the VK site and translate to English. A lot of times Old Berg will show up as hashtag prison on uh, the VK site. So it's fishing 44.33 with garlic dough, getting white bream and rough. Or roach. I said rough. So that's going to be over in here, which I've had some luck there as well. Right now, that's the only thing I'm seeing on Quarry or on VK. Sorry, I was looking at a Quarry post as I was talking there. That's the only VK post I'm seeing about Berg. Gibble. I cast a little too hard there. We do have a point we can spend. The only thing in float fishing we could put it in would be using a spinning rod. Bolognese unlocks at 30. We're pretty close. Harvesting baits, I'm going to put it into red worm. That gives you a better chance to get red worm, and when you do, you tend to get 2 or 3 rather than just 1. Speaking of the devil, went and dug and got 2 red worm. Was hoping to see some roaches or something like that over in the lily pads there, but not getting anything. I'm going to cast this out in the same spot we're float fishing. And this is where leveling starts to slow down, especially for bottom fishing, float fishing. Belaya can be really good experience, and we may do some spin fishing over there. But I don't think we've got our gear quite right for what I'd want here before we start wasting some money on some spin fishing gear that we're not going to use too much. Obviously, when you get to quarry, that can be a good spin fishing setup. You can also go over to bear around the same time, if not the same level. Yep. Quarry unlocks at 16, bear unlocks at 18. Bear is more of a carp fishing, float fishing, bottom fishing, more of a bottom fishing lake, but there's some options there. Another red worm. I still have garlic or pearl barley on this. I want to switch over to some form of a worm. I have thought about getting into ground bait as well. We'd have to level it up a little bit to get to the stage where we can use bream ground bait. But it's definitely something that's on my mind for the near future. Now, I haven't used ground baits for float fishing too much. I do think it's a valid strategy. So what ground bait is it's basically a ball of bait and you want to match it similar to the bait that you're using. The game does provide a few recipes, so bream mix needs pearl barley and maggots and millet porridge and anise oil. I think millet and pearl barley, it requires level 20% in ground bait making. And I'd probably like to put a point or two into ground baits before we do ground baits. But usually 3 points of skill points into ground baits gives you almost a guaranteed 7 out of 10 or better every time you make it for quality. So can be worth it to put points into ground bait, especially if you're doing a lot of bottom fishing and especially if you're doing a lot of float fishing to a good degree as well too. So bottom fishing, you can buy a cage that you put the ground bait in as well, or you can literally just toss a ball of bait into the water near where you're fishing. All right, I'm not seeing any activity here. So let's just do a bit of a tour. This is going to be a shorter episode, I think, just because I'm tired. It's late. It's almost 10:30 already. So, since we first got to Berg, let's just kind of wander around here a little bit. The town is back over there. Down over here is the campground. There's also a bridge that is a very good place to fish bream. So this is the campground here. A lot of good bream fishing off of here. But if you go just a little bit to the right of the camp, there's that bridge right there across the lake. And if you set up where the railing's missing and you cast out towards that 5-meter hole, you probably won't get all the way out there. But cast out in that direction, that's a great spot for bream fishing. I've had some luck casting to the same spot from the left side of the bridge as well. Another fun place to fish is going to be off in the distance. I don't think you can see it from here, but if you go around, you go out of the town and around up to the north and then hang a right, you can come around, or you can go this way. A lot of good pike fishing along in here, but that's more spin fishing, so not something we'll see too much of. But this bridge can be a lot of fun because if you look at the map, there's a little bit of a inlet here that, as long as you stay on the bridge, more than likely the fish are going to swim from the bridge out to the wall there, and you're less likely, it's always possible, but you're less likely to get spooled fishing here. You do have to be careful. There are some pretty big grass carp, some pretty big uh, common carp in this area. Let's just cast out a little bit and see what might happen here. Standing too close to the water there for a second. It is not fuck you, game. That was frustrating. It's telling me it was impossible to put a rod pod down right where we had just picked the rod up from. And I almost missed a fish, or I definitely missed a fish because of it, because it didn't let me switch rods. And I messed a bite up on 2. Definitely some activity over here just on wet bread. Pretty decent crucians. Might be what they're talking about with float fishing being more effective. Little gibble. Another marker crucian. Roach. And we did get up to 30% float fishing, so we've unlocked using a bolognese rod. So bolognese rod allows you to have a reel on a float fishing. So you'll basically be able to cast out 15 meters and then have your float dangle down from there. Nice kilo crucian on the bottom rod there. I definitely enjoy bolognese fishing on rivers because you can just watch your float go down the river quite a bit with the float camera. You have to say it's been pretty good activity here so far. This is also a good place to catch an eel, but usually eels like either night crawlers or fish pieces, so you can cut up your smaller fish at higher bait harvesting skills and use that. But I've caught some pretty decent eel over here. They're pretty rare as well. And it's one of those when you pull the eel out of the water, it's one it's not what you expect to see, so it's always surprising. There were definitely some choice words said the first time I pulled one out. Usually around, what the hell was that? Ah. Ooh, hello. Small crucian. How good the bite rate's been. I'm tempted to throw some potatoes on. This is a good fish. 860-gram gibble. Might have missed a fish on rod one while I was admiring it. Small crucian. It's interesting that float fishing is very active and bottom fishing using the same bait is not, but I think I do have a bigger hook. And it's not in the exact same spot. Yeah, I do have a size 8 hook on that. Bottom rod heard me talking about it and got jealous. Or bites on both of them at the same time. Missed the one on 2. I was just late. And again, we're standing on wood, but we can dig for worms. So 2 more red worms, some more normal worms. And I did put potatoes over on my ground rod, bottom rod. We'll see what it does there. Probably still a little bit of small hook at an 8, but with the float swimming away there, I was pretty sure there was something on it. Let's go a little shorter over towards those lily pads and see if there's anything there. Answer would be yes, and I missed it. Smallish gibble. Barely a marker crucian, but a marker crucian. I actually thought they didn't marker until 300. Yeah. Somewhere between 293 and 274. Might be 275 then. Nope. That was 277, not a marker. $279 and not a marker. Smaller than I was hoping for on a size 8 with potatoes, but it was still a marker. And I won't complain about markers at this stage. I'm not really trophy fishing here. Honestly, I'm trying to see what the difference in the new float fishing is. And so far it's been a lot of the same. The bites do seem a little bit different. I'm noticing a lot more fish are pushing the float up than in the past. It seems like the bite rate is a little bit higher than what I remember the last few times I fished this spot. Good fish there. Smaller than I thought. I think this is a big gibble, or at least a gibble. Or a roach. I may get a bigger hook for my bottom rod here. That was frustrating. I swear that was a bite. Again, the float popped up there on rod 2. That's what told me there was a fish on it. Small gibble. Is getting a little bit close to wrapping up time here. There's a decent crucian. That was a perch. That's why. Cursed crucian. Decent roach. Two fish away from 50. About 5 minutes short of a full day. And we really haven't been fishing the full time. Talked about the patch notes at the start. So far, it's been a lot of small fish here, though, unfortunately. Another perch, I bet. Nope, marker roach. All right, we do have 50 fish. I didn't sleep well last night, so I'm actually going to go ahead and pull everything in, go back to town, sell what we've got. Probably not the best episode today, but go watch the spin fishing tutorials, the new tutorial system in the spin fishing video. I think I had a lot of fun with that. I've been having a lot of fun doing some spin fishing at winding on the side. Just when I've got a few minutes, I'll log in for a few minutes on another character that's just a bit of a play character for me and spin fish winding, and been catching a lot of good chubs there. So been a lot of fun, especially since it's been successful. Just dropped my mouse. Was about to sneeze and took my hand off the mouse. But being successful for spin fishing that's not just trolling behind a boat has been a lot of fun for me. So looking forward to that spin fishing character. I'm still kind of deciding how I'm gonna do that. Am I gonna do every other day, one day on spin fishing, one day on this guy? So, Mondays on spin fishing, Tuesdays on float fishing, back and forth. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do. I think the spin fishing one can be fun because I could probably split the casts up, since it's more of you cast, you reel it in and wait for a bite. Whereas float fishing, you never know when the bite's going to happen. So, my guess for today, I'm guessing that we're probably a little bit light. This may be a 30 or 40 silver day, if that. Assuming we didn't have anything market order wise. I don't remember. Gibbles for 18. Now we only got one of the 4. Chub, common, carp, common, roach. We only got 2 of the 7. So yeah, we did not get any of the cafe orders going over the fish market. 32 silver overall. The 1.4 kilo bream was 5 silver. Not too bad. Just short of a kilo was about silver and a half. Roach, still pretty low. 1 to 2 silver each for the markers. Crucians, 1 kilo was 3 silver there, not bad. Gibble carp, only had 1 marker and it was 2. Small-eyed for 0.11. Perch are definitely worth more. That would not have been 2 silver before the update. And the white bream, pretty small marker white bream, was 3. So we'll go ahead and sell everything we got. So 32 silver, we're up to 133. So I'm still deciding exactly what I want to do for line. What jumped out at me for monofilament was this Simmons Mono SS. So it is 100 meters. I thought it was 25. So it's 100 meters and there is a 7 kilo for 34. So I'm actually going to go ahead and buy a set of that. And then I would like to get some fluorocarbon line. And there's a 6.9, but it's 135. So I think we got a little ways to go before we'll be able to get that. But I think that's going to be my next purchase, is some fluorocarbon. Either that or the other thing I'm thinking about. Did we unlock the good hooks? We did at level 12. I really enjoy these rage hooks. I'm going to buy 1 size 4 that we'll use for potatoes on the bottom feeding rod. So I think that's going to wrap it up here for today. A little bit of a slower video, unfortunately, but that's the way sometimes they go. I mean, 50 fish in a day is not bad. They were just all small fish. So appreciate everybody watching. We'll be back again either on Wednesday or Thursday with another episode here, and I will have a link over to the playlist that has the spin fishing character and the new tutorials in it. So if you are interested in seeing that, please feel free to go watch that. Definitely would appreciate that as well too. But otherwise, have a good day, and we will see you all later. Bye bye.